Many years ago, at the start of the Texas Revolution, as the old 18 stood firm next to their cannon at Gonzales, many individuals in the state, sensing an imminent war, began to organize regional militias. Estas milicias regionales would play a pivotal role in the revolution. San Antonio de Béxar, Texas' biggest and most prosperous city, would organize its own militia de jóvenes valientes, vaqueros y rancheros de la área. In San Antonio, the militia formed to engage in the Texas Revolution would be remembered as La Compañía de Tejanos Voluntarios or the Tejano Volunteer Company. Sons of the Veramendi, Díaz, Navarro, de los Santos Coy, Arciniega, Corviere, Jiménez, Maldonado, Delgado, Castañón, Menchaca, Leal, Cervantes, Chávez, Martínez, Rodríguez, Herrera, Díaz, Hernández, García, Garza, and many more would join this prestigious military company and serve during the revolution. Included in that militia were 4 brothers with the last name Flores de Abrego. Welcome to TDC History. My name is Matias Santos Coy. I'm your host and your Texas History Ambassador, and today, we have to talk about 4 brothers, hermanos from the famous Flores de Abrego family. Join us today as we present the historic chain of events that introduced fighting revolutionary rancheros into our Texas Revolution, in our video presentation entitled The Fighting Flores. But first, let me welcome you if this is your first time on our TDC page. You're at the right place if you love and appreciate Texas revolutionary history. We're glad you're here, so please hit the like and subscribe buttons and become part of our family. And, if you don't want to miss out on any future videos, hit the bell notification button right now so you can catch all our stories. Also, please support our efforts at the TDC by purchasing cool Texas-themed merchandise from our online store. Check out our vast selection of colorful and vibrant patriotic Texas t-shirts, available in several vibrant colors in both short and long sleeves. The link to our store, TDC Promo Gear, is provided in the description section. And finally, if you want to learn more about our Tejanos and their participation in our Texas Revolution, remember to order your copy of our book, Tejano Volunteer Company, Stories of Our Texas Revolution, available on Kindle, paperback, and hardcover. The link to request your book is also in the description section below. Now, let's get back to our presentation. Everybody knew the Flores brothers, los hermanos Flores, because everybody who owned a horse would likely have purchased their equine investment from one of the Flores brothers, probably one of the older brothers like Manuel or Salvador. In San Antonio and surrounding areas, in esos días, the Flores brothers were known, and had a reputation for, owning and riding the finest and fastest ponies, in San Antonio de Béxar. They all rode Spanish-bred Misteños, or Mustangs, the best picks from their father's ranch of over 200 horses. So, if you owned a horse in Texas during this time in history, more than likely, one of the Flores brothers was your horse salesman. According to family tradition, many fandangos ended with a horse race on Market Street, desde la iglesia de San Fernando, hasta el río de San Antonio. This race almost always included several or all of the Flores brothers, and many times, you guessed it, un hermano Flores, would win. ¿Cómo la ven? Also, everyone in San Antonio de Béxar knew these brothers very well for their strong, family bond. History remembers the Flores brothers as Manuel Flores, the oldest brother. Den Salvador, or Chava Flores. Nepomuceno, or Nepo Flores. And the youngest Flores de Abrego, José María, or Chema Flores. El apellido, or last name, Flores de Abrego, was a prominent family name of San Antonio and, almost all of Texas really because the Flores were well known in the ranching industry. They were proud men and women, steeped in the cause of freedom. They owned and operated successful horse ranches located near modern-day Floresville, Texas. And, the Flores de Abrego family had been in Texas, from the very beginning. During the Texas Revolution 1835-1836, the 4 brothers from this prominent Flores family in Mexican Texas signed a 6-month agreement and then bravely fought and served, in almost every skirmish and battle. Estos cuatro rancheros, from the Abrego family, became revolutionaries committed to the cause of freedom and independence. They would serve as scouts, couriers, messengers, and fighters. If a Texian military mission had any element of risk or danger, and most did, more than likely, a Flores would be part of that mission. From the fall of 1835 to the spring of 1836, these fighting Tejanos seemed to be everywhere in Texas history. They saw it all. You could say that the Flores brothers were the first in and the last out. Porque the brothers did fight for Texas, almost continually, from Gonzales to San Jacinto. The Tejano involvement in the war for Texas independence started with Manuel, who responded to the call from the Gonzales volunteers in early October of 1835. Manuel Flores joined and gathered with other Texians and Gonzales for what they thought would be the first confrontation between Texians and the Mexican army. Manuel was there on October 2, 1835, when Texians faced the Mexican army during the Battle of Gonzales. Shortly after that skirmish, Manuel raced home to tell his brothers and brother-in-law, Juan Seguin. History remembers that about a week before the battle Gonzales, on a Monday, September 28, these young vaqueros had already decided to engage in the fight for Texas at a historic meeting held at the Flores de Abrego ranch. On that, muy caliente, Monday afternoon, at that historic meeting, all the young eligible volunteers of Béxar arrived at the Flores ranch to meet with a young, aggressive, determined leader, Juan Seguin. Everybody attending knew him personally. That evening, they committed together to form a military unit, their area militia, to engage in the fight for Texas freedom. Everyone who showed up, the 61 men in attendance that day, had been friends since childhood. In so many ways, the Texas Revolution was a family affair. Chava was very surprised by how many local young men under 20 showed up. For example, Carlos Espalier, Jim Bui's protege and adopted son, attended, and he was just 17 years old. It's hard to imagine today, but the youngest attendee at that famous revolutionary gathering was only 15. He was a very brave and mature 15-year-old named Luis Castañón. Again, everybody knew everybody. It was more like a family reunion than a revolutionary meeting. Seguin's wife, María Gertrudis Flores de Abrego, sister of the fighting Flores, and the Flores de Abrego ladies prepared food and drinks for the occasion. Salvador, Chava, opened the meeting by reminding everyone of the dire situation that confronted them. Then introduced what he called his brother-in-law and best man to lead this group of friends. After that, Juan Seguin addressed the group. My friends and compatriots, we have known that this moment would come, and now it is here. The time has come to act. There is no turning back from this point forward. Hermanos, raise a glass, and Seguin raised his glass in the air and shouted, for freedom. Chava added proudly, for family. And two of the Corbiere brothers, Antonio and Matias, added in unison, for Texas. Less than a week before the skirmish at Gonzales, Chava Flores and Manuel Leal organized 41 volunteers from ranches and farms southwest of San Antonio. Their objective was to reinforce Austin's newly formed Texian Revolutionary Army and engage in the fight for independence. The brothers immediately became valuable assets for the newly formed Texian Revolutionary Army, mainly because the Flores brothers were from Texas. They had a strong sense of loyalty to the land of their forefathers. They were also fully knowledgeable of Texas terrain, even at night. Los Hermanos Flores were exceptional riders, great sharpshooters, fierce and daring guerrilla fighters, and almost always fought together, looking out for one another. 200 years ago, young Tejanos received training from the older men to survive, raid Mustangs, and fight from an early age. So, now the Flores brothers were like Navy SEALs of the Tejas Revolution. Many Texians, including Stephen F. Austin, Dev Smith, and Jim Bowie, admired and respected these young fighting Tejano patriots and fought alongside the brothers on many occasions. The Flores brothers bravely participated in all of the following historical events: the Battle of Gonzales, the Battle of Concepcion, the Grass Fight, the Siege of Béxar, the Runaway Scrape, and the Battle of San Jacinto. It's not hard to imagine that they would be so active in the revolution if you think about the fact that they were the home team in this conflict. Almost all those military actions occurred on their homeland. After the fall of the Alamo, Houston and the remnants of the Texian army were in trouble. From the Mexican perspective, all that was left to do was catch Sam Houston and end this rebellion. Houston chose wisely to retreat quickly in the night. History remembers that retreat by Houston as the runaway scrape. During the war council before the withdrawal, Houston turned to Captain Seguin. General Houston gave him an order, one of the war's most important. Secure our retreat. Texas must be allowed to fight another day. The orders for Captain Juan Seguin's Tejano volunteer company were to serve as security detail for Sam Houston and the entire retreating Texian army. Historically, this order represented a colossal responsibility because if the Mexican army caught up with the retreating Texian army, the revolution would be over with a Mexican victory. Therefore, Texians had to retreat and regroup, and someone had to be the buffer between them and utter defeat. Captain Seguin assigned Sergeant Chava Flores and half of the Tejanos the critical task of guarding and protecting the rear of the retreating Texian army. The rear guard had to be a vital buffer between the retreating army and attacks from Indians or advancing Mexican units while ensuring no one was left behind. During the retreat, the Tejanos engaged the advanced units of the Mexican army several times as they fought to keep the retreating Texas army safe. Manuel Flores, his younger brothers Nepo and Chema, along with Juan Seguin were at point position, scouting forward and securing a safe travel passage for the retreating army. History remembers that the fighting Flores brothers successfully led and guarded the retreating Texian army to East Texas, for 6 weeks, and all the way to San Jacinto. In April 1836, First Sergeant Manuel Flores, together with Captain Juan Seguin, Sargento Salvador Flores, Cabo Nepomuceno Flores, Jose Maria Flores, and the rest of the Tejano Volunteer Company cavalry would join forces with Houston and Rusk's men on Sherman's flank to attack Santa Anna's army at the Battle of San Jacinto. During the attack, you could hear the shouts of Tejanos al ataque. Recuerden el Álamo. The Battle of San Jacinto would culminate the brothers' service and efforts in the rebellion, becoming their moment of glory. Texas was fortunate to have the fighting Flores from San Antonio de Béxar. The Flores de Abrego brothers, Manuel, Salvador, Nepomuceno, and Jose Maria, were true patriots of our Texas Revolution. And as I mentioned before, it is important to note that the fighting Flores brothers participated together in many of the skirmishes and battles of the Texas Revolution. They always had each other's back and fought to ensure that all the brothers would walk away alive. At the war's end, Manuel and Chava would be commissioned captains, and Nepomuceno would receive the commission of first lieutenant in the Republic's new army. The brothers would also become part of the original Texas Rangers movement. And, as a Texas Ranger, Chava was instructed to train all Rangers to shoot accurately while riding. A trait that Chava was really good at. All of the citizens of that generation knew and greatly respected the four brothers who served, fought bravely, and exemplified outstanding leadership for Texas during its revolution. Many years later, the daughter of Jose Maria Chema Flores, the youngest of the Flores brothers, donated 200 acres of the Flores de Abrego Ranch for the establishment of a new city in Texas. That city would be named Floresville. The state of Tejas placed a historical marker in front of the Floresville courthouse during the 1986 Texas sesquicentennial. It now honors Manuel Flores and his brothers for their service to Texas. This post is dedicated to all descendants of the fighting Flores brothers living today in Texas and worldwide, like David Di Reina. They continue to carry the torch handed down to them by Manuel, Salvador, Nepomuceno, and Jose Maria, patriots of our past, otherwise remembered as the fighting Flores of our Texas Revolution. And thank you, Manuel, Chava, Nepo, and Chema, for fighting for freedom, for your brave deeds and devotion to our republic. Texas. Thank you for being with us today and allowing us to bring you this video presentation entitled The Fighting Flores. I'm Matias Santos Coy, with TDC History. Thank you for watching, and remember, Héroes Tejanos. Never forget.